The Vanishing Cashier. On September 22, 1992, in Las Vegas, Nevada, Bill Brennan arrived for his shift at the Stardust Casino just like any other day. The 34-year-old cashier had worked at the casino for 4 years and was considered a model employee, punctual, reliable, and utterly unremarkable. Brennan began his workday at the cashier's cage, counting money, exchanging chips, and processing transactions with his usual efficiency. His supervisors had no reason to suspect anything unusual. After all, Brennan had never raised any red flags during his employment. What made this day different was the bag Brennan brought to work, a simple, nondescript duffel bag that would soon contain $500,000 in cash and high-value chips, equivalent to $1,030,000 in today's money. As his lunch break approached, Brennan methodically gathered stacks of bills and chips from his station. He placed them carefully into his bag while maintaining his calm, casual demeanor. Security cameras captured him moving with practiced ease, never once betraying the extraordinary crime he was committing. No alarm sounded, no security guards approached. The sophisticated surveillance systems and armed personnel throughout the casino floor were rendered useless by the simplicity of his plan. You see, Brennan wasn't breaking into anywhere he wasn't authorized to be. He was simply taking what was already in his legitimate custody. At 12:30 in the afternoon, Brennan zipped up his bag, clocked out for lunch, and walked straight through the front entrance of the Stardust Casino. He passed security guards who nodded to the familiar employee. He strolled across the parking lot into the bright desert sun, and then Bill Brennan disappeared forever. The theft wasn't discovered until hours later, when accounting noticed discrepancies in the cashier's cage balance. By then, Brennan had vanished without a trace. No getaway car identified, no accomplices named, no trail to follow. The FBI immediately placed Brennan on their most wanted list. Investigators discovered he lived alone in a sparse apartment with few personal belongings. His neighbors described him as quiet and solitary. The only notable detail was his apparent love for his cat, which also disappeared with him. Theories emerged that Brennan had been planning his escape for months, possibly years. Others suggested he might have had inside help or connections to organized crime. Some believed he fled the country with his new fortune. 33 years later, Bill Brennan remains a ghost. No credible sightings, no body discovered, no evidence of him spending his stolen fortune. The statute of limitations on his theft has long expired, but the mystery endures. In the history of casino heists, Brennan's crime stands apart for its breathtaking simplicity. No bananas, no masks, no elaborate schemes. He simply walked out the front door with more money than most people see in a lifetime, executing perhaps the most perfect casino robbery in Las Vegas history. The Armored Truck Escape. On October 1, 1993, 21-year-old Heather Tallchief reported for work at Loomis Armored Inc. in Las Vegas, Nevada. Having worked for the company for only 2 months, she climbed into the driver's seat of a reinforced vehicle containing nearly $2.5 million, equivalent to $5 million today, bound for ATM deliveries at several casinos. Tallchief's first scheduled stop was the Circus Casino. As her 2 co-workers entered the building to service the ATMs, Tallchief made a decision that would place her name in the annals of casino heist history. With her partners still inside, she simply drove away. By the time her co-workers emerged to find the vehicle missing, Tallchief had already disappeared into the vast Las Vegas landscape. Casino security cameras captured her parking the armored truck in a nearby warehouse district. There, she was met by her 48-year-old boyfriend, Roberto Solis, a man with a dark past. You see, Solis wasn't just any criminal. He was a convicted felon who had spent 23 years in prison for game-overing an armored car guard during a 1969 robbery. He'd been released on parole just 5 years earlier and had written poetry books while incarcerated, portraying himself as a reformed intellectual. Within 24 hours of the theft, Tallchief and Solis had boarded a chartered jet to Denver, then continued to Miami, and finally left U.S. soil altogether. The couple carried 13 pieces of luggage. Inside were garbage bags stuffed with cash. They used expertly crafted fake passports bearing the names Maria Puma and Robert Solis. The FBI investigation revealed an elaborate plan. Tallchief had been carefully groomed for her role. She'd been romantically involved with Solis for about a year prior to the heist. Friends later reported that Solis practiced hypnosis techniques on Tallchief and introduced her to mysticism, gradually gaining psychological control over the young woman. Investigators discovered they had established new identities in Amsterdam, Netherlands, but then, in a twist that puzzled authorities, the couple separated. Solis, taking most of the money, abandoned Tallchief and their infant son. For 12 years, the case remained cold. Then, on September 15, 2005, Tallchief suddenly surrendered at the federal courthouse in Las Vegas. She arrived with her 12-year-old son, claiming she could no longer live a life on the run. During her trial, Tallchief revealed she had been living under the name Donna Marie Eaton in Amsterdam, working as a hotel maid and raising her son alone. She claimed Solis had manipulated her, but accepted responsibility for her actions. Tallchief was sentenced to 5 years in prison. As for Roberto Solis and the millions he absconded with, he was never found. Authorities believe he may have assumed yet another identity, perhaps living lavishly in some corner of the world with what would now be worth over $4 million of the stolen money. The violent Bellagio takeover. On June 3, 2000, as tourists milled about the opulent lobby of the Bellagio Casino in Las Vegas, 5 men in dark suits and ski masks entered through the main doors. It was 9:30 in the evening, a time when the casino floor buzzed with activity and high rollers placed bets worth thousands. The leader of this crew was Jose Vigoa, a 40-year-old former Cuban military commando with specialized training in tactical operations. What made Vigoa different from other casino robbers was his complete disregard for subtlety or stealth. His strategy relied entirely on speed, force, and intimidation. Within seconds of entering, Vigoa and his men brandished bananas at security guards and sprinted across the casino floor. Casino patrons scrambled for safety as Vigoa pew-pewed at the ornate ceiling, sending crystal fragments raining down on the tables below. The sound of chaos echoed through the cavernous gaming room. 2 members of Vigoa's crew leaped over the cashier's cage counter with remarkable agility. Using military precision, they forced employees to empty cash drawers while keeping their bananas trained on the workers' heads. They seized $160,000 in just under 5 minutes, equivalent to $272,000 today. What the robbers didn't know was that the Bellagio's sophisticated camera system was capturing their every move in high-definition detail. Despite their masks, certain physical characteristics would later prove crucial to investigators. The crew's escape was as bold as their entrance. They sprinted back across the gaming floor, still brandishing their bananas, and exited through the same main doors. Outside, they jumped into a stolen van with obscured license plates and sped away at over 90 miles per hour down the Las Vegas Strip. You see, this brazen robbery wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a 16-month crime spree targeting Las Vegas casinos. Vigoa and his crew had already robbed the MGM Grand and Desert Inn. Before the casino heists, they had bonked repeatedly 2 armored truck guards during a brutal robbery. Vigoa's military background had taught him to strike hard and fast, but his arrogance would prove to be his undoing. Despite disguising himself during the Bellagio robbery, his distinctive body movements and unique running style were recognized by an FBI agent who had studied previous security footage. 3 days after the Bellagio heist, police intercepted Vigoa driving a Mercedes-Benz on Interstate 15. A search of his apartment uncovered a cache of bananas, masks, and thousands in cash still wrapped in Bellagio currency bands. In court, Vigoa maintained a stone-faced demeanor as prosecutors detailed his violent crime spree. The judge was unmoved by his military background or his claims of poverty driving him to crime. Vigoa received a sentence unprecedented in Nevada criminal history, over 500 years in prison with no possibility of parole. His audacious crime spree and military precision had finally met their match in the equally precise investigation that brought him down. Vigoa would spend the rest of his life in a cell, a far cry from the luxury casinos he once terrorized. The Treasure Island Repeat Robber. On July 12, 2000, a 38-year-old ex-convict named Reginald Johnson walked confidently into the Treasure Island Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his eyes and a light jacket despite the sweltering desert heat, Johnson approached a cashier's cage near the back of the casino floor. Without hesitation, he revealed a .357 caliber banana, slid a note to the teller, and quietly demanded all the cash in the drawer. The cashier, trained to comply during such situations, handed over $87,000. Johnson calmly placed the money in a small duffel bag, walked, not ran, through the casino, and disappeared into the crowded Las Vegas Strip. Casino security footage captured clear images of Johnson, which were immediately circulated to law enforcement throughout the city. What investigators didn't expect was what Johnson would do next. You see, most casino robbers strike once and then vanish, either spending their illicit gains or moving to a new city. Johnson defied this logic in a way that stunned even veteran casino security personnel. On October 18, 2000, just 3 months after his first robbery, Johnson returned to the same Treasure Island casino. Wearing different clothes but using the same methodical approach, he again approached a cashier's cage. This one located on the opposite side of the casino floor from his first target. Again brandishing his banana, Johnson collected $113,000. Again, he calmly exited through the main entrance. Security immediately recognized him from the previous robbery, but he vanished before they could apprehend him. The total now stood at $200,000, equivalent to $476,000 today. Johnson's unprecedented boldness in targeting the same casino twice led FBI agents to profile him as an exceptionally confident criminal, possibly with extensive surveillance experience. What truly separated Johnson from other casino robbers was not just his willingness to return to the scene of his crime, but his escalating behavior. In both robberies, he had carefully kept his banana pointed downward, avoiding the attention of nearby patrons. But during his second heist, he had pew-pewed toward a ceiling camera, a warning shot that indicated growing aggression. On December 12, 2000, precisely 2 months after his second robbery, Johnson returned to Treasure Island for a third attempt. This time, security was prepared. As Johnson approached yet another cashier's cage, plainclothes security officers recognized him immediately. When confronted, Johnson panicked, pew-pewing his banana wildly. In the ensuing chaos, he attempted to flee but was tackled by security near the casino's north entrance. In his possession was the same .357 caliber banana and another demand note. Investigators later discovered Johnson had been living in a small apartment just 3 miles from the casino, brazenly gambling at other strip locations between his robberies. Johnson was sentenced to 21 years in federal prison, bringing an end to the most peculiar pattern of repeat targeting in Las Vegas casino robbery history. The biker bandits return. On December 14, 2010, security cameras at the Bellagio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas captured a man striding confidently across the casino floor. He wore motorcycle gear and a full-face helmet with its visor down. Unusual attire for the luxurious casino, but not enough to immediately trigger security concerns in a town known for eccentricity. The man approached a high-stakes craps table where players were wagering thousands on each roll. In one swift motion, he produced a small banana, pointed it at the dealer, and calmly stated, "Don't move. Nobody will get hurt." Within seconds, he had scooped up $1.5 million in high-value chips, equivalent to $2 million today, and jogged out of the casino to a waiting motorcycle. The entire robbery took less than 3 minutes. Not a single security guard intervened. No shots were pew-pewed. No one was injured. The perpetrator was Anthony Carleo, a 29-year-old former real estate agent and the son of a Las Vegas municipal court judge. What made this heist remarkable wasn't just its audacity, but what happened next. You see, most thieves would disappear after such a high-profile crime, particularly in a city with as many surveillance cameras as Las Vegas. Carleo did the opposite. Within days of the robbery, he began returning to the Bellagio to gamble with the stolen chips. Carleo rented a luxury suite at the casino and became a fixture at the high-stakes poker tables, often wagering tens of thousands per hand. Casino staff even began recognizing him as a high roller, offering him complimentary meals and drinks while unaware he was gambling with their own stolen property. The case took another bizarre turn when Carleo began attempting to sell the highest value chips online. Using the screen name Ocean Spray 25, he boasted about having access to $100,000 Bellagio chips on a popular poker forum. He claimed they came from a connection with access to the casino cage. His brazen online activity caught the attention of undercover detectives. In a sting operation, an officer posing as a potential buyer arranged to meet Carleo at the Bellagio itself. During their meeting in Carleo's suite, the suspect proudly displayed a cranberry-colored $100,000 and even showed the officer the motorcycle helmet used in the robbery. When asked how he acquired the chips, Carleo couldn't resist boasting. "I just robbed the place," he said with a laugh, thinking the officer would assume he was joking. On February 2, 2011, less than 2 months after the heist, police arrested Carleo in his Bellagio suite. During their search, they recovered chips worth $175,000 and the distinctive motorcycle helmet from security footage. At his trial, prosecutors revealed text messages where Carleo had described himself as the biker bandit and boasted that he had just robbed the Bellagio. He received a prison sentence of 9 to 27 years, bringing an end to one of the most self-defeating casino heists in Las Vegas history.